they came bounding over.
Okay. So when we last left off, you guys had finished your work at the temple, finding out that there was some sort of altar or some ritual going on. Battle ensued with a ton of Kuo-toa as well as a couple of Muro. It didn't get too hairy, but some big hits were taken on both sides, and you guys decided to investigate the altar, took away some sort of strange idol, and ended up with a rather strange occurrence of a moment of mental instability for everybody. And after that, you took a world-weary travel back to Angler's Island underneath the sky that now had a crimson scar or streak running across it. And you get back to Angler's Island. You guys took a rest at the guild outpost there, and it is the next morning. So you remember that you're going to go to Mogren to talk about what you might have found.
That is true. So,
before everybody wakes up, I kind of, after having that vision quest, I wake up in a daze, and I look around, and I wake up Hingman. I'm like, Hingman.
Sada,
I just had the weirdest dream.
what happened?
I can't really explain it.
So why'd you wake me up?
I'm trying to put it into words. It's like a darkness spoke to me. It was almost ethereal, and I can't really grasp like the meaning. It sounds like I'm insane, like I'm an insane ranting maniac. It was like the darkness spoke through me as me. Like it was me that was talking to myself.
Man, that's weird.
It took upon my name. It was me, but it was something else outside of me.
Do you have a history of mental problems?
I think I might. But whatever this idol is, I think it totally reacted with me.
Some magic?
Maybe. I need to talk to Mogren about it though.
I would do that as soon as possible.
And then I just stare at the idol.
Oh man, I had a great sleep. I don't know about you guys. Oh yeah.
I'm visibly shaken for an old man. I'm just like, I'm shivering and like I'm so like on edge.
Big old eyes.
He's got that 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, it's like I've seen some shit, dude. I've been there. I've seen it.
You think that what you saw has anything to do with what we're dealing with?
I don't know. I really don't. I think it's something that I've been maybe suppressing because it's like awoken something in me. Something that I forgot. And I think I'm starting to remember it. In my old age, I forget a lot of things.
That makes sense. It's justice.
But I'm hoping that maybe this idol has something hidden within it that maybe can help me uncover the knowledge that I've lost.
That would be weird, but I mean, I can see how it would happen.
Sounds like a demon to me.
Oh, you're up?
I'm always up.
You're upside down sleeping like I heard that.
Where do you guys
Hanging
have
off
that
the top
idol
of
right now,
the
by the way?
balloons.
Just like in a bag?
Oh god! Can't you guys shut up and give a guy
Did you hear that?
more sleep?
We need to speak to Mogren now. Let's go.
Shit happening. Fine.
Hey, guys.
Yo.
I had asked where you were keeping the idol. Is it like in one of your bags or something?
I slept with it. I held it.
Cradle it like a baby.
May or may not have been.
Okay, everybody else in the room, make me either perception, investigation, or arcana, whatever is going to be best for you.
Everybody in the room?
For what? For just like doing what? I guess.
You'll see.
What are the rolls again? Perception.
Investigation, perception, or arcana, whatever suits you best.
Okay. Not as sharp in the wee morning hours.
I'll do Arcana.
We all did investigation. Except for Arcana.
Yeah, I got a 6.
Mm.
Shit. That one's going in.
So it's really just Nox who has some more insight into this thing. You spent the whole night with it, so you, having cradled it in your arms throughout your slumber, are familiar with its shape now. You kind of can run your hands up and down it and just feel the runes and different symbols that are carved into it as the different bumps go by. It's like a macabre sort of teddy bear.
You seem overly attached to that. Are you sure you should be sleeping with it?
I needed to keep it safe. I think this thing is some kind of key, and I think once we give it to somebody that knows maybe its history, we'll have a better sense of what it does. I was keeping it safe, for sure.
I still think
All
you were
right.
speaking with the demon.
Me?
Mm-hmm. They like to manifest themselves in people's dreams, chip away at their will.
You had my dream too?
You told
No,
us your
enough
dream.
with this.
I told Hingman my dream.
I was awake.
He was
Oh.
awake the whole time.
Okay.
Let's just go talk.
Yeah, if Nox specifically only told Hingman, then you wouldn't specifically know about the dream then, Wayne Red. You would see him being like overly attached to this thing, but you wouldn't know the details if he didn't specifically tell it to you too.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I guess. Sure. Still say it's a demon.
Still says demon. Stop talking about demons. You have no. Yeah, what are you talking about? Let's just go to Mogren. I like stand up and I put on all my armor and shit and I walk out the door heading to Mogren's place, which I believe was the butthole. No,
The Tavern of the Butthole Light.
the puzzle house. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I walk my scaly ass over to the puzzle house.
Me as well.
You guys
Yeah,
coming?
yeah,
Yeah, I'm coming.
I have the
Alright.
idol.
I have that.
So you guys you end up back in front of the same building as before. It's just pretty plain on the outside, not a lot of decoration. But the guy standing outside looks almost exactly the same as the other one, except he has a different shade of hair. Like the other one had a full beard and long head of hair that came into a ponytail. This guy looks, like I said, pretty much exactly the same, but it's red instead of dark black.
Well, let's approach him and do the good old hand gesture.
Yeah. I walk up to him, give him the stomp salute.
And he notices it and kind of returns the gesture and then just says, 93.
$11.
Yeah, so I was gonna say.
And he just steps aside and lets you pass through the door.
I do
Same.
the same thing that Heskar did.
And a wink. We walk inside.
Okay? And to you, he posits 10.
3.
And he does the same motion, kind of steps aside and extends his arms in a welcoming sort of gesture and opens the door
Before
and
he
shuts it
even
behind
has
you.
the chance to do any movements, I just know, and I'm in the door.
I approach and do the stomp salute.
And to you, he says, 18.
Nine.
And he again does the same turning motion, letting you inside, welcoming you.
Before you can do that, I sneak in.
He can see you. You're right in front of him in
I
broad
make
daylight.
no noise though as I enter.
You said 9 in German.
Yeah, you're one tiptoey motherfucker.
I step up and clumsily do the salute thing.
He kind of chuckles and then just says to you, 21.
Nine.
Welcome to the puzzle house, Hingman.
He knows you by name. That's cool.
See you, Dad. Thanks for letting me in.
By now, some people have heard of this, like, because, like you said, you guys, like, the height difference, it's kind of noticeable with 3 generally tall people and then just one short as hell dude. And he's always being clumsy and show-offy since he's a bard and trying his performances and trying to persuade people wherever he goes to give him discounts. So by now, word has kind of spread about his reputation.
Oh shit.
Keep that in check, man.
You talking shit?
I don't want any
Say shit about me?
undue
What,
attention towards
what's
me.
the inside of the puzzle house look like this early in the morning?
Pretty much the same as last time, actually. It's not full and crowded in there, but it's decently populated with people guessing riddles, playing different dice games, things like that. You can actually see Tack right now, the guy that you had met before, is sitting down at one of the poker tables.
I
Poker,
give,
I hardly know.
I give him a little nod, and we were taken upstairs by oh shoot,
Tack?
no, it wasn't Tack. Tack wasn't the one that brought us upstairs, was it?
No, he just, like, when he got there, he just let Mogren's people know that he wanted to have a meeting, and then they let him know once Mogren was ready to have the meeting. So it'll probably be the same operation. Go talk to, give the word to Tack, and he'll make the contact.
Contact.
Oh god.
I gotcha.
Alright, I walk over to Tack. Tack, we need to talk to Mogren. We got something that might
We have
need his
information.
attention.
So this early in the morning, huh? Well, welcome back. I'm glad you made it. The seas can be kind of rough at night. Noticed it was a little brighter out last night than before, but I'm sure there's some sort of answer to that. Not my business. Anyway, I'll go give him the news after this hand. Care to sit down?
This is kind of urgent.
Yeah, urgent as fuck.
This is about the missing people.
Finish
He,
your hand, Tack, and then we need to get to it, so...
No, he just sighs and puts down his cards, like, after you guys kind of stress that you're in a hurry. Pushes back his chair and gets up and walks over to somebody standing near the stairs and just kind of talks to him for a moment. Comes back and just says, should be a few minutes, but we have the appointment.
Fair enough. I go up to the bar and I get myself a breakfast beer.
A beerita.
1 gold.
The breakfast beer it's kind of like one of those fancy Bloody Marys that you can find. It's got bacon, like 2 strips of bacon sitting in the beer. And when you drink the beer, it's kind of like a salty, like brown ale kind of a thing. It's good. It's thick enough in the morning where it'll feel like it'll fill you up a little bit. Plus the bacon, it's a nice little treat. Those are 3 gold, by the way.
3 gold?
Yep.
Alright, fair enough. Better be getting paid pretty good for this. Supplies aren't cheap.
I am running low on funds.
So, I mean, Tack sits back down at the table and just resumes playing with, he just gets dealt back in while you guys wait. Do you want to join him at all?
I just say thanks for the urgency of the matter.
How much is it to buy in? I say to Tack.
10 gold. Not a whole lot. We don't play for riches here.
Yeah, Mogren's gonna be a little bit. Deal me in. I throw 10 gold down.
Turn my volume off.
So they dealing or what?
Yeah, he deals you in. And give me just a second. All right. So basically, you will get 5d6, and you get to roll those, and then you get to, choose whether or not you want to change any of them, and then we'll move on from there.
Okay, I'm joining just so I can roll so you can see. Gambling and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
You said 5d6, right?
Yep. Well, you didn't have to show me that,
Oh,
but it's fine. It'll just expedite things for you guys.
okay. I just thought it was funny that I got 21, actually. Alright, so I choose which ones I want to hold on to.
I mean, yeah. Is there anything you're keeping in there?
Well, it's 5, both 5s and a 6. Keeping both of those, or all 3 of those.
Okay, so then just roll 2 more d6 to replace the ones that you want to replace.
Does it matter if you see it? I guess. Should ask.
Not yet, but it came through successfully last time, so we'll just give it a second.
Okay, well, it goes through pretty quick.
Hey, you got another 6.
All right.
2 pair.
Yeah. 2 pair, 3 high.
All right. So you see everybody else looking at their cards. A couple of people replace what they have. Some just stay with their hand. One person folds and just gives a kind of dissatisfied grunt and pushes out his chair and goes to get a breakfast beer. So you ready for the results for everything?
Yes. Yes.
So everybody turns over their cards. Tack himself has 3 of a kind with 3 4s. Another guy has a pair of 5s, and the other guy just doesn't really have anything. He tried for it, was maybe going to try and bluff you, but it didn't work out for him. So Tack actually beat what you had, because you had 2 pair and he had 3 of a kind.
That son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
Dylan.
So there's only.
Pushing
So
That's
your
awesome.
10 gold is everybody's money is given over to Tack, and he just kind of chuckles a little bit and looks at you and says, "Thanks for the donation. Good, go towards a good lunch."
Oh, yeah? Is that so?
And you can continue playing for a little while longer if you'd like to, or not. If you want to spend any more gold.
I'll be alright. I grumpily just get up, stretch, and just saddle back up to the bar.
Okay, so a couple more minutes of enjoying your breakfast beer until Tack stands up and just kind of motions to you all and says, "Looks like they're ready. Come along." And leads you up the stairs to Mogren's office.
Clomp, 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 clomp. Ah, I
that
forgot how he
Mogren?
looked.
That is Mogren.
The door is open for you, and he's currently sitting in his high back chair behind his desk. Quite a few chairs in front of him. you guys can have a seat if you'd like, or just do whatever. You're in.
I pull up a chair.
Me too.
Me too.
I just hang back in the shadows.
His windows are letting in a lot of sunlight, plus the other candles he has for extra reading light.
And it's a round room.
I'm hanging out in the shadows under my salad helm.
Personal shadows.
Personal shadows. It's my personal bubble.
So, Mogren, it's good to see you. We have news.
It's good to see you all back too, and it sounds like you might have some answers.
Answers and more questions, probably.
Yeah, more questions.
Lots of questions.
We discovered the remains of a lot of the missing townsfolk and sailors. Unfortunately, there were no survivors that we were able to bring back.
They all seem to be sacrificed in some sort of religious practice to some ancient god.
Drained of their blood. It was a tribe of Kuotoa, but I believe that the real culprits were the merfolk that were actually protecting
An altar.
an altar further in.
Ritualistic altar made of squid and a manta ray. And then at the base of the altar, in a big cistern type bowl, we found this idol. And then I show him the idol. And it's like, it still has like residue of blood.
Right,
And
so during this whole conversation, you've seen him reacting to what you're saying, kind of just taking in at first the acceptance and gravity of you guys finding so many bodies and there being no survivors. And as you get onto the whole sacrifice part and the altar being a part of it, participation of the merfolk, Kuotoa, things like that, his face kind of is surprised and concerned at the mention of sacrifice and the description of the altar, and then finally just kind of raising an eyebrow and just his face is all deeply contorted in thought for a few moments, and he asks, "Does that red anomaly that appeared last night have anything to do with what you found?"
it may well possibly.
Highly likely.
I don't know if there's any connection that we can really present at the moment, but the timing is very suspect.
And a buddy Knox here might have seen some stuff in his dreams, if you care to explain.
I would like you to look at this idol first, because we have more questions with that. What do you make of this?
He leans in a little bit to get a better look at some, like a closer look at some of the markings and runes on it. He doesn't touch it at all. He just he keeps a fair enough distance, but gets close enough to be able to inspect it more closely. And he looks to the side and snaps his fingers and makes a motion to somebody. And they bring over a silk bag, and he just places the bag over the idol and says, "I think it best not touch it. If you might have seen things, who knows what could happen? A mere touch of the object. The story you told me about the mer people, though, seems to ring a bell."
This happened before?
And well, he explains that long time ago, this is one of the stories that he's heard in the area, that a long time ago there was an entire tribe of merfolk that lived all throughout this area. Because, you know, as you've been going through, there are palm trees. It's definitely a tropical climate. And pretty much the entire sea here was under the rule of the merfolk. They were not antagonistic. They were definitely protective of what they had, but they weren't outright attacking people or doing anything, warlike, anything like that. They ended up finding a strange item, and not knowing what it was, they brought it back to the king. And everyone who touched the idol became inflicted with madness, including the king, who decreed that a sacrificial ritual be performed for some reason.
Madness?
There was so much blood that it was said that the sea turned red, but that the ritual worked, and the king led all the survivors of the sacrifice through some sort of gate, never to be seen again, until actually they returned. They were gone for so long, and like I don't know if it was clear in the beginning, the very, very beginning of the campaign, like the eras that came before the one you guys are in, there's not a lot of recorded history, so it's just a lot of folktale and legends and stuff. It took so long for the merfolk to reappear that they were just thought of as a myth. They came back, but they were changed into darker, aggressive, violent creatures. And then these were the first Murrow.
Murrow, you say?
Never heard of those before. Can you tell us more about them?
Well, those were the two things that you guys fought in the cave, like right in front of the altar.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
But I want to know if this guy has any more information on him.
What rank are the Murrows in the hierarchy?
I think what he was saying, or at least when he was describing the story, it sounded like the Murrow were the actual, like, all of those merfolk that disappeared. Not necessarily like Murrow being a rank in there, but just that group of merfolk that had been corrupted by that idol.
Is there anything more known about him, like tactics or weaknesses, that sort of thing?
How recently into this era did the Murrow appear?
Well, he does not know anything personally about their tactics or weaknesses or anything like that. He just could tell you to, like, ask maybe for some sort of monster guide or something at the guild, or somebody that might know more.
I'd like to I'd like to ask him more about if he can expound on the madness, and if we can kind of relate to him that we heard like that echoing boom come from that pond by the altar, like that experience. If we can somehow describe that experience to him, maybe he has some more insight on the madness issue.
Well, he's putting two and two together that this might be whatever they found, and that everybody who touches this idol gets just their minds get shaken to a degree where they're kind of askew, not permanently, but they're not the same as they once were.
Well, I think it's safe to say it's not something that should be just locked up in a wall safe. Do you have anybody in town that could perhaps hold this until there's a proper finish or a proper way to dispose of it?
Well, he takes the bag, and it's over the idol right now, but he very carefully turns it over without, just touching the outside of the bag, and closes up the little cinch on the other side, and then hands it off to somebody and says, "Well, with everything we found, I'd say this is quite ominous. I'd like to send it to my kin in Elador and see if they might have some insight into the circumstances. They have a great arcane knowledge that might be of use here."
How do you plan on transporting it?
Using the Swiftfoot Courier Service. They're very well known for getting things done if you pay them well.
Is that what we're gonna have to do next?
I'm groaning because, we
No,
started out with them, but, we'll see. usually from our one prior experience with them, their services usually have a little bit of risk to them. I suggest you thoroughly check out whoever you hire and make sure that they're on the up and up.
Why not us?
We have guild business to take care of.
Yeah, you guys aren't going to have to take it there or anything. He's hiring outside of, your party.
Spooky man.
Should you maybe relate to Mogren what you saw last night
I did
in your dreams?
I did try to inspect this idol on our way back, and then I had a dream, and it felt almost completely real, like I was awake. But the entity I spoke to seemed to be coming from myself, and I'm sounding like a lunatic talking to him because I can't really convey that to him.
You sounded like a lunatic now. I'm sorry.
And yeah, he can definitely tell that I'm just like this raving old man, just like under a bridge, yelling at people.
I believe every word of it because I'm paranoid as fuck.
That's true. But I tell him about the creature that spoke to me that had, I don't know, a mass to it, and it was engulfed in darkness, and it spoke as if it was me, or under the guise of my name.
He just looks concerned and just says, "That's why we're sending it to the elves. They might know something more about old gods and some sort of madness you may be inflicted with."
Which elves are they going to?
Elves and Elidor, from the sounds of it, his kin.
Yeah, if you look at the map,
It's west of Crimson Grove.
door is
It's right there.
mm-hmm.
Well, there's a bunch of lakes right next to that road.
All the same,
Jumped by merfolk.
I feel that we might need to also confer with the rest of the guild to see if this scar in the sky is, anything else coincided with that occurring.
I'm guessing that it's that gate. Like that gate is brewing that he spoke of. Something is going to come through that gate.
Excuse me. They're trying to reform it.
Some ritual. And I'm sure that wasn't the people, the mass that we found in that cave. I'm sure that's a fraction of what they've been doing. There might be way more out there.
The legend says that the ocean looked as if it was just made out of blood. That's a lot of death that we have to prevent.
You sound paranoid.
That death already happened, so...
Could be happening all over again, though. That's the thing.
I just know we have to kill it. Kill whatever is doing this. Put a stop to it.
Well, let's first collect our contract, meet with, I feel if we go back and meet with Heron, we'll maybe get a little bit more insight. 'Cause right now, I mean, we're kind of grasping at straws. We need to be able to connect these dots.